Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is facing more heat this morning after sources confirmed he shared war plans in a second signal chat. At the White House Easter egg roll yesterday, Hegseth lashed out at journalists.
This group right here, full of hoaxsters that peddle anonymous sources from leakers with axes to grind.
Our Ed O'Keefe is following all of this from the White House and joins us now. Ed, that comment jumped out at me because of the stark difference between the setting, his children around him, and his tone and his messaging. This chat that's being brought up was shared with Hegseth's wife and brother. What details can you share, and what did you make of Hegseth's defense yesterday?
Well, first of all, we should point out he approached the White House press pool upon his arrival at the egg roll. The pool didn't seek him out. And the pool, of course, is that group of reporters that is allowed into public White House events for the sake of space. There's a camera, there's radio, there's newspaper reporters. He approached them with his children in tow to make his latest argument in favor of him keeping his job and claiming that he did nothing wrong. Remember, he did that while he was overseas during the last time this was an issue. In this case, it appears he shared operational details to some extent regarding where and when fighter jets would be taking off, similar to the details that he shared with top cabinet secretaries and an Atlantic magazine editor-in-chief in mid-March about those strikes on Houthi rebels that took place around that time. The Pentagon defending him as well, suggesting that there were no classified details or information shared in the chat, and essentially saying that the secretary did nothing wrong. But it's another example of him, in essence, sharing information that others in the current and in previous administrations have said would otherwise be characterized as classified information that should not be shared over commercially available apps in any way in the lead up to the completion of a sensitive military operation.
I know that when it comes to the president's inner circle, he stands behind them until he doesn't. As of 7:40 this morning, Trump is behind Hegseth?
You've been through this before, Errol. Yes, as of this hour, he is still standing by him. In fact, the defense secretary is set to appear on one of the president's favorite news networks in the next hour to explain and defend himself yet again. But the president, in essence, telling reporters yesterday that he is standing by the secretary because of the leaks from what he called disgruntled employees, and suggesting that when you try to shake up an organization like the Pentagon, there are going to be people upset with you, and that's clearly the case with Hegseth. We should also point out the president claimed that everybody's happy with Hegseth and his performance so far. That is not true. There is at least one Republican congressman speaking out against him, Don Bacon of Nebraska, who's a former Air Force officer, suggesting, I would never tell the White House what to do, but I wouldn't tolerate it when it comes to what Hegseth is now reported to have done. Errol.
All right, Ed O'Keefe at the White House for us this morning. Thank you, Ed.
Take care.